Yeah, introduce yourself first, and then I know who you are. Who are you?
I know who you are.
What's your name and where's you come from?
Hi, I'm Anna Sollini. I am a FatChanceBellyDance teacher and an instructor and performer. And I used to live in England and now I'm living in Mallorca in Spain.
And I used to be your teacher.
My
And now you're
first
my teacher
teacher.
sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, you can still teach me though. We'll just teach each other. That's life and love and support.
How long have you been dancing for, and then how long have you been teaching for?
I started dancing after university, so that was around 2002, 2003, maybe 2004. 2003, 2004, me and Pip said about a photo the other day, was when we started with Janet Rose's classes. So that's when I started dancing. And then teaching was once I met you and learnt from you, teaching tribal or ATS, was around 2012 or 13. I did my general skills 2012.
Right. It was definitely 2009, but it like when I established, but it was the classes might have started like halfway through 2009.
I emailed you that year, and that's when I met you and taking your classes.
I remember you messaged me saying that you wanted to dance like Rachel Price, and I messaged you back with a massive rant about
it was really long. I was like, oh bloody hell, okay.
What did I say? Can you remember?
Just stuff about it doesn't just happen, that you have to really work on isolations and talking about what techniques she uses, and how tribal is a really broad term, how there's tribal fusion and ATS, which is obviously improvised, and just really breaking everything down, because all I'd seen was this beautiful costume and this beautiful way of dancing. After doing Oriental for so long, I really wanted to do that. And then you just replied with the whole
I think what it was
well, if you want to do that.
What it was is that I didn't want to teach people to be clones of me or anyone else.
I remember you saying at the time, go to as many teachers as possible.
Yeah.
Don't
I used to tell my students to spot themselves around.
Yeah,
but also
in that email you did, I hadn't even started learning from you yet, and you said
I know, because that's how I learned. You learn the more people you learn from, the more knowledge you have. So it was, I think I equated it to like jazz or something, about you can't be a jazz musician without learning the basics. You can't just be a jazz musician. You need to have the foundations in order to have something to fuse. Now you can just learn ATS. No, sorry, you can just learn fusion, of course. Like now, I would say, of course you can, but it's useful to know to have that background so that you understand what you're fusing. I think that was my argument at the time. But then you ended up just sticking with it. you never went back. You never looked back.
I came to your classes above the pub in 2010. I got my laminated certificate from you.
Was it laminated?
Yeah, you laminated it for all the students. Yeah,
fancy. I didn't know I laminated it.
yeah, I've still got it. It's in this cupboard here. That cupboard there. So I only dragged one card loads of stuff to Mallorca with me, and in it is that certificate that you gave me.
You were the only class that I gave those to as well, because it was my first one. So my first bunch of students got that.
Yeah, it's great. It had the Nottingham Tribal Belly Dance logo and the butterfly.
The butterfly, yeah,
that on it as well. And then I was hooked. And then
I dragged you into teaching, basically, didn't I suppose.
Yeah.
Did you not actually want to be a teacher? You just got thrown into it. I was like, hey, I moved to Malaysia and I was like, here's my dance school. You're a teacher now. So what attracted you to tribal originally, though? Like, what was the thing? Was it the aesthetic?
I was dancing just because I didn't like gyms, and it was very nice. I liked the movements, but it was very kind of pretty and sequins and hair squishy. And as soon as I saw tribal at a Hafla, one of that Janet Rose had organised or invited us to from her classes, from Stenton Hermitage class days. she invited us to Hafla, and it was her and a troupe doing a tribal performance, but they were in burgundy with the head wraps and they had zills. It was this tribal look, and the arms were a lot more
snaky.
Yeah, more undulations, and they were kind of mimicking ATS moves and things back then, and it just made me go, wow, I want to do that. And then I found out it was improvised and a lot harder. Obviously, that was when the point I emailed you. But I was like, wow, between the Rachel Bryce tribal fusion and then seeing this at a Hafla, this tribal presentation, it made me go, that's my thing.
Yeah, I saw my first. I think I first saw it on the video of the Belly Dance Superstars, you know, the one in Paris.
Oh, I watched that over and over again. I had a copy of that.
I was with me and Rachel Redfern used to just watch it and drool over it. And like I remember us teaching ourselves how to do snake arms by just watching that over it. Like
I still remember that off by heart.
How do you do that?
It's incredible, that Belly Dance Superstars DVD. Was it the first one? I think it was the very first DVD they'd done, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, it was.
I can still remember the different performances. It was amazing. It was mind blowing. I was addicted to it too.
And then and Rachel told me that it was improvised, and I was like, what? It's like the look though. I mean, obviously the look, because like we're not Barbie dolls. We're like grungy goth ravers. So obviously the look with the dreads and like the tattoos and the it was very gothy, you know. It's alternative.
It was more self-empowering rather than just giving yourself away. It just felt more like, I can decide if I want to look at you or not.
The aesthetic though is like totally like it fits into our you know, the alternative aesthetic anyway. It's like, there's a style for us. I would have stuck with the other style of belly dance and then fit my own aesthetic around that somehow. Like but when I saw that, I was like, that one's for me. That's the style for me. What about the music though? Did you prefer the traditional belly dance music or tribal style?
I think it was like Beats Antique and Solace that I first heard, and then that I remember falling asleep at night just thinking about tribal stuff, like I'm going to put shells in my hair for the next performance, and I'm going to dance to this new Solace track, and I could do this combo to bounce. Woo!
Belly dance dreams.
Obsessive.
Belly dance dreams. I remember having belly dance. Yeah. At which point did you realize that you'd got the bug and that it had taken over your entire life forever?
Bestwood, definitely, when I was living in Bestwood in Nottingham, definitely early on. When we did the general skills in 2012 together.
You realised that was it. This is my life now. This is what I'm doing.
I'm less obsessive now. Not that I'm not passionate about it, but I realise it's got its place a bit more, and and it's like it's part of my life, but then I've not let it take over and be the entirety of my life that I did back then. Now it's a bit more, I used to be after work, I'd arrive on your doorstep with a bottle of wine going, teach me more.
I loved it. I loved that though. That's why. Favourite student because she brings wine to my life. you immediately win me over that way. Turning up on my doorstep with a bottle of wine begging to dance. So I'm like,
it's weird because that happened with Carmen, with me. When Carmen first met me, when I moved to Mallorca, I was lying in bed one night thinking there'd best be someone I can teach, because if I can't dance Fat Chance style in Mallorca, I'm not going to be me anymore. Something's going to die inside me.
I felt that way.
Carmen was doing the same, lying in Mallorca in bed, like knowing a
dreaming
bit of tribal. And I'd love a Fat Chance teacher, someone to come and teach me the real steps. And then I appeared, and she was the same, texting me and a lot, really, really just wanted to get close and ask me all these questions, wanted me to go around and break down little steps. And she was obsessive for the first. I'm not all the dahlias were, but Carmen particularly got quite close to me and took just took all the seeds away and made them her own thing.
I thought you got really lucky with that because they were so like into it. I was like,
talented.
I was really pleased for you because they were so good and just like a lot of people's favorite troupe actually. Like I've heard a lot of people go, "Oh, I love the dahlias; they're amazing." That's really awesome. Like
we've been less active since the pandemic. We did do our big event to Capta Medieval Festival last year, 2-day event. But yeah, we've not been as active.
No,
Esther had 2 kids, and then we had the pandemic. So we had the first years that were like bang, and then we were just completely all over the place. We were in mainland Spain and here and in Mallorca.
You did a tribal Roma.
Yeah, I did Roma Tribal as part of the collective. I went there on my own, not a Dahlia thing, me on my own, but still kind of, that was 2018. I kind of feel that was our pinnacle. I feel that's when I was like, having a really good year. 2018 was a good year. It was really good with the Dahlias, and not that it's not bad, it's not that it's bad now, but it's just different now. So things kind of ebb and flow.
I mean, I had a big drop since moving away from England mainly, but I still when I was in Malaysia though, I did manage I taught in Singapore and Jakarta and then Laos, and I got to dance with Hilton and Zoe, who are both amazing dancers. I'm still in contact with them. I will go over again at some point. I might book myself a little Asian tour. I think now it's time to get back on the dance horse, for sure. Definitely. I've had a big hiatus, I suppose. I was having a bit of a rough time over the past couple of years, and now I'm ready to get back on. Hence this.
Lots of people have. Yeah,
I know. I was already going. I think I was already going that way when I was living in the off grid, though, because I was just so isolated. Although I had one friend who was really into dancing, and she would come and get me and take me to the yoga studio, and we danced together. Which was there's always one person that's dead enthusiastic, and you just need to find each other, you know. So I'll hopefully be teaching again soon. But what about you? Are you teaching at the moment?
Well, I say that I've been kind of things have drifted off a bit, but that's literally just in the context maybe with Dahlia, because personally, due to the pandemic, my online sword classes have completely taken off, and it's made not just me but everyone, I think, realize, oh, hang on a minute, we can teach people on the other side of the world. We don't have to just have in-person classes. We can make them hybrid is the new thing now, isn't it? Having people in your dance studio and also through video, learning and teaching through video. So it's taken off, and I had a few core girls, some of Angela Noble's students and a couple of others, start with me during the pandemic, 2019, 2020 maybe, early 2020, and they have stuck with me since. A few other people have joined, but I have students now, like in America, in Malta, in Germany, in England, it's fantastic. I've got at the moment about 27 students across between single sword and double sword classes. So it's really grown and taken off in 2020, my little online class Thursdays that I have. Cool. I'm mainly teaching through that now. I'm just doing sword, specialising in sword. If people want one-to-one classes, then that's fine, and whatever, we do.
So you found your little niche.
Yeah, definitely. I think sword is I'm one of the international mistresses of sword with Melody, and Virginie Violet. So Melody kind of approached us, and because I'd had a few one-to-ones with her, and I'd bought the DVDs, and I was asking her questions.
What's Melody's second name again? Sorry, Melody.
Well, it depends if you pronounce it in English or Spanish way. It's Bustillos in Spanish, because of the double L is a Y sound.
Oh, right.
Bustillos.
Yeah, Bustillos. I'd say Bustillos because
I would. But maybe English people who haven't,
they wouldn't know that.
Would just say Bustillos. So yeah. And she's the creator of Fat Chance Belly Dance sword dialect. I know some of it comes from her teachers,
Yeah.
But she's been, you know, had the blessing from Carolina and had the DVDs out, and is the international teacher of this style.
Nice.
So I feel really lucky to have met her and studied with her and have her blessing to be going on to teach the steps that she kind of created. Yeah, it's a great dialect. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I love it, but I'm your worst student.
I'll keep inviting you, it's fine. It's tough on the arms. You know, when you dance with a sword or swords, you only dance for 5 minutes, normally 5-7 minutes. So to do an hour or an hour and a half class is like
I think the only thing for me is my location and the fact that I haven't got a dance because previously I've had a space that is totally for dance, like I've had back in Nottingham I had my little dance studio.
Oh, I loved your garage, your little dance studio. The two of us. I learned so much in that space.
I know.
Even when you went on holiday, I'd go round. You gave me a key, and I'd use your garage and I'd home from FatChanceBellyDance DVDs. Yeah, in your garage, I was in there. You'd be like, leave a little heater for me, and the DVD player and the telly, and I'd go in there and like study.
Yeah, I love that house. I really miss that house. It was a good house.
It was cool.
Yeah, and then in Malaysia again, I had a dance space with mirrors and everything. Again, here I haven't got that here, and this I do have a space that I can use, which is down the road at my friend's. It's kind of around the similar size to the garage was, I suppose. Like you could probably fit around 4 or 5 students in there, but definitely no more than that.
Maybe with swords less.
Yeah, like I had to go at spinning around it and imagining, like, yeah, it's big enough for like to teach a troupe, a small troupe. Yeah. So I might do that, but yeah, I think that's the reason that I've been kind of a bit off-piste with my classes and then also just not feel, you know, I lost my mojo. So but I appreciate that you kind of like keep the door open for me. I appreciate that.
Always.
So much appreciated. Like, it's great.
You've got a sword and you will use it.
I've only got one though. I need 2.
That's fine.
I'm not even good with
one sword.
I'm not even good with one yet though. Well, and I was doing sword before you, and then you got really good at it.
I have my own dialect now.
Wow.
I know. I have my own steps. I'm teaching melody, and I'm going to ask Virgin actually if she wants to learn them. But I've got like a couple of my own moves that are now established, and I'm really proud when I see other students dance them at Haflas or online on little video clips on Facebook. Yeah, I've got my own steps that fit really well within the Fat Chance Belly Dance format. Nice. So I've got a single sword step called the pendulum. And I've
I remember you showing me that one.
Yeah, and that's in free position. I have something called split arm turns, and you can do them with a single sword or double sword, and they're based from fire flow steps. So they've come from our fire fan kind of days.
Yeah, that's why you're good at it. That's why you're good at it.
Exactly, everything is arms based and props, waving these stick things around. It's all from that background that I've got. Around. Yeah. A minute, waving stuff around.
I've got a background in waving stuff around.
And then, with the double sword, I've got a step called the split arm combo and a step called the Jabberwock, which Anne, one of my students, named for me, the Jabberwock, because of the snickety snack or something, the feeling of the words. Yeah. Did
you try to create them, or did they just pop up in your head and you went, oh, that works? Like, how did you come by them?
That's a good question. I just play, really. I amalgamated like little bits that I'd learned from other steps from melody, because melody's not all just Fat Chance Belly Dance. She has like folkloric sword steps. She has some of the old vintage sword steps. She has some other bits which are really nice and really beautiful. So, you know, steps like the 3-point pivot turn, which it can be put with the Fat Chance vocabulary as a step. There's a section in there where you just turn with the sword. So I've put that little excerpt into the middle of one of my steps. And then another bit, like, you know, the shave, they're just really old movements where you bring the sword slowly up a hip and you kind of do a sideways undulation with it at the same time. Yeah, so it's just from Fireflow, some belladonna inspired stuff, watching and studying belladonna, because I've had her sword stylizations video since like 2014 or something, and it was always too advanced to me and too scary. But yeah, when I started getting into sword, it was like, okay, I can do this. Yeah. And so even just like the circling, they call it a barrel turn with sort of traditional barrel turn is, but it's not the barrel turn that we know, but just holding the sword and making a circle.
Yeah.
Mm.
I can manage that one. I can do that one.
Yeah, so it's like an amalgamation of FatChance steps, old stuff, a bit of Fireflow. The split arm turns of Fireflow, they're pure Fireflow.
That's why you're better than me at those. I'm not so good at those, because you've just got that, the Fireflow thing.
Yeah, with poi.
Which because I did fans, but I never did poi. I was rubbish at poi. I can use fans.
Poi and staff.
Yeah, I'm more about I think for me, I'm more hips and skirts and things. I think, yeah.
You're probably more of a dancer. I'm more of a waving my arms around. You're probably more of a physical, move your torso around dancer, whereas I like to just like move my arms. Oh, look at my
I like to spin. It's my thing, isn't it? I like to spin like a tornado.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah. I studied with Melody last in Freiburg in November, and I learned some
Where's
new
Melody
steps.
from then?
Salt Lake City in Utah, in America. Okay. I studied with her in Germany, and I learned some like moves that were kind of obvious, like the wraparound turn that I've always done just in like an arm position, having the swords on my arm. And then she's like, oh, you can do it in free too. And she shows you something new, and then your brain just goes, wow. And then I've got all these new ideas and little bits to, take away. And I keep some stuff for myself, because the stuff I've learned from Belladonna, I can't teach. I'm not a boho blade teacher. I've never done her qualifications. That's all personal. I keep that for me. And then the melody stuff, I make sure I can do it properly before I teach it, but I do teach it because it's FatChance. And she's, given me her blessing with that, which is amazing, really.
Yeah. And it's nice that you can add it. It's just like you can add it on to everything we learned back then. And it's like just like another set of tools that you attached to the other set of tools.
It's amazing, because the first steps you might learn might be propeller and corkscrew with a sword, and then all of a sudden you go, oh my god, that corkscrew works really well with this brand new wraparound turn that I've learned. And all of a sudden you've got a brand new combo from one of the very first things you ever learn, just put next to something new that you've just learned, and you're like, wow, it's like something entirely new. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's nice.
It is. It's nice to still have those feelings,
because like when you're a baby dancer, everything's exciting, and then after a while it's like, oh. But I don't know, I still get excited about dancing, but
I know I do. I get fed up with putting all the costume on. I get really jaded with putting on like 12.
I don't like taking it off. I feel more at home in costume than with not.
No, it's true. I'll leave it on because I put all the effort into it.
Yeah. I mean, once I'm wearing it, I'm like, I feel myself again. But like, putting it on is effort. Like, and then the bloody skirt tucks and things like that.
I just hate the faff of not being able to go to the toilet. And mermaid skirts, the new mermaid skirts that everyone wearing, they're a blessing for me. I'm fed up of pantaloons and 225 skirts.
Also, with you not being around, I've got no one to tuck me in.
Oh, you have to go tuck yourself.
Yeah.
Which is the name of that video, isn't it? That Kyle
tuck yourself. Go tuck yourself. Yeah. Because we all Koyuki mastered all of those things. Like,
each other's.
I know how to do it, but it was nicer when you've got someone to tuck you in behind.
Always. So get the matching either side, or get the bust nice for you. Or, always. Yeah. It's worth having a friend to tuck you in.
Yeah.
I'm moving away from the biggest, because I'll keep a few, but I've got a pile on the spare bed I've had there for about 3 months now that I'm going to sell.
Let me have some.
You're more than welcome.
Anything you're getting rid of. Bagsy me first, and then
I'll send you photos. Before I put them up for sale, I'll send you photos.
Have you got any plans then? Like, what are you going to be doing in future? Have you got any plans for any events or anything? Are you gonna host anything, or are you going to any events?
Well, yeah, all of those. All of the above. I started last year. Mark from Tribe Zeus, Mark and Angela contacted me and said they'd like to.
I love them. They're so lovely.
Retreats. Yeah, really nice. And we've known them for ages now. Yeah. So their events are awesome. I'm hoping a retreat will be on the cards. In April, I'm coming to England. I'm doing the Goddess Retreat in Durham, teaching chord and tambourine dialect at that. I don't know if it's supposed to be a secret what I'm teaching, because they haven't actually like released the workshops yet, and people rush to choose which workshop they really want to do. So I mentioned in my last class to my students, they're like, "Oh, so you're doing a double sword class at Goddess?" I'm like, "Yeah, am I allowed to say? Yeah."
But that's what you do. That's what you do. So it's fairly obvious if you're teaching.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to teach like Manton or like Fan, am I? So
Candelabra.
Yeah. Makes sense that it would be a sword workshop.
I'd be like, I didn't expect Anna to be teaching that.
Surprise.
Candelabra.
So yeah. And some of the girls I've only met online. And I've known them for 3 years now.
Oh yeah, the Angela's lot. I've met them in person. They're trouble, that lot.
Yeah, they are. I love them. They're great.
They are. They're the ones that stay up late. That lot are.
That's it. They like a red wine.
Yeah.
And they like to dress up, and they like to dance, and they like to drum. They're a fantastic group of girls.
Yeah, they are. They're the trouble ones. That.
That's why we get on with them, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
That's why we like them. The party gals.
We find each other like attracts like.
I'm really quite excited. I've got to go straight back to work the day after flying back early hours of the morning on Monday. So it's going to be a bit coming back and massaging 5-6 hours a day. But anyway, it's going to be worth it. It'll be great fun. I'm teaching 4 workshops at that. And then in May, we have our Cap de Pera, which is May the 20th to the 22nd.
That's Mallorca, right? Is that a festival in?
That's our medieval festival in Mallorca.
Oh, yeah.
We have Kathy coming in September. I don't know if I'm hosting her.
Kathy from FatChanceBellyDance.
Sorry, Kathy Stallman from FatChance, yes. So yeah, Sandy and Wendy came last year, and we didn't do a dance workshop with them. They just came for a break because they've been teaching mainland and they wanted to see Mallorca. So I took them for dinner in Valdemosa, Valdemosa. So Kathy's coming, which would be lovely. I'm hoping that we want to do 2 workshops. They're an hour and a half, 2 hours each.
I'll come to that. Yeah. So your Facebook is Anna Sollini. I'll put it on the screen here.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Yeah, so hopefully we'll do 2 workshops in Mallorca. So if people want to come from Europe, that would be great. And I don't know what else, but to make people come all that way, we thought 2 to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, definitely.
If we did 1, it may be more for Dahlia's and for Carmen's students, because she has classes in Mallorca, but she only has like 5.
Yeah, if you're traveling, you want to make it worth your while, definitely.
It's not like England, where the population of Mallorca is the population of Nottinghamshire.
Wow, so if you imagine, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I know. I know. People actually interested in like tribal dance is quite. People will need to travel to come. So to just do 1 workshop, it's a bit like, it's quite far. The accommodation, the traveling, the time.
Yeah.
I think we'd have to do 2, but then it's a bigger project and it's more to organise. So it's a little bit more scary, and with everything else going on.
I'll help.
Thank you. It's because it's a tourist island and I work so hard in summer. I don't have much free time.
I don't have a life anymore, so I'm happy to help with anything.
Do it. We've managed other amazing feats as partners in the past.
We used to do Shangri-La Lounge, and we used to do all sorts of
it's
things.
True. I've helped you with those projects, and you've helped me with the Hafla that we had here at Factory de So. I went to work and you got the little
candles.
Candles that we danced with.
They were awful. They were
but it gave the
I
impression.
decorated them. They look nice. But the candles were shit.
That's cool. We've supported each other through thick and thin, haven't we?
Who's your go-to? Like, you know, if you need some inspiration to come up with, like maybe you're creating a performance or something, like do you have any go-to videos that you watch for inspiration that you always go back to?
No.
Not
really. Well, there was Sisterhood Al Saif for a while, Melody's sword troupe in America. There's sometimes 4, sometimes 3 of them, and during the pandemic I watched them over and over again, doing online classes, and obviously I had the DVD. I was struggling with the transitions, with putting one move to the next, thinking, well, I've finished that move, now what happens, like stopping and thinking. And then I saw like how fluid and how they did a lot of the transitions, and it really inspired me. And even now I think yesterday I sent a video to my students of Sisterhood Al Saif performance from 2019 to say, look, here's how they do this step at 5 minutes something. So yeah, I have them, definitely.
Yeah.
I like the old stuff, but the old stuff that used to make me go, wow, you know, like we were talking earlier about the Belly Dance Superstars DVD.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch that for inspiration.
Exactly, I couldn't watch it now.
Because the whole
it's evolved.
It's evolved from that. My go-to is probably Samantha Emanuel and Horace, who is my friend.
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah. There's what's his name? Ilan Riviera.
Yeah.
Sophia Taraquin, just a French girl, a French dancer, and I've got a bit of a secret crush on her, actually. I really like her posts. I really like her sense of humour on Facebook. Oh, I hope she doesn't watch this. Yeah, and
I'm not editing that out. That's saying.
There's an Indian dancer as well. What's her name? That she came to Barefoot one year. She's not Indian, but she uses Indian fusion steps. I've forgotten her name. She's an amazing dancer, and it's Indian fusion style. She knows Odissi and Kathak dancing.
The only one that I know is Josephine Wandel from Germany.
God, I can't remember her name. She's obviously, but she still blows me away when I see her videos every now and then.
Yeah, I do like Indian fusion because, well, that's why I went and did a bit of Odissi for a bit, but it's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Oh yeah.
Classical Indian dance. Like if we thought tribal was hard when we first started, classical Indian dance is like nothing else. It's killer.
Even just keeping your hands in the mudras and stuff. I'm like,
wow.
And
well, it's just that so many things at once. You're thinking about your eyes, your head, your chest, your arms, your feet, which is stomping, and then your hips. So, and it's all in a very precise different position. When I came back from doing that the first time, I remember Dawn O'Brien at a Hafla, she was like, B, your dancing has improved loads. And I was like, and it was because of that, like it improved. Now I think I'm shit again. I'm shit again now. But you lose it if you don't use it though, and I haven't been using it.
I've not danced fast steps since May last year, Fat Chance belly dance style. I don't practice. I've kind of lost a little bit of inspiration for it, to tell you the truth, because I don't know if it's just because I'm focused so much on swords and paddleboarding. I danced the other day just to prove that I still could, you know. Well, so it still works.
I think if you throw us together in a room,
we'd be all right. Yeah. Maybe not as fiery as I was in 2018 from one step to the next, but you know, it's still there. The steps are there, just not the quick transitions of like, wow, that looks amazing together.
Also with us, there was something else powering us as well. I think I seem to recall there was a bit of wine and maybe a shot before a performance.
I mentioned that the other day to somebody, how we used to have, shots of, Jägermeister?
It was only that one time. It was that one time when it was.
You said we should make it our thing. It went really well.
It did. That performance was great. Like I love the pictures from that performance.
Is that the black and red performance?
Yes, it was. It was. Might have been Janet's, but Pauline was there.
Pauline Hugh's one of the reasons I continued with sword. My first ever sword performance was in front of her. And I was really shy and nervous at the time. I just had this really cool song called Secrets, and I really wanted to express this kind of eeriness with a sword and this secret. And I performed this song, this solo, and her husband's playing accordion. It's a bit strange, but we decided to do this like weird duet-y thing. And that was before we moved here. So it must have been like 2014, 2015, when I was just starting to teach sword. No, maybe it's before I was teaching, because there's not official Fat Chance steps. I kind of make stuff up a little bit in that. And she said to me, your performance was beautiful. You've got natural ability, but just remember not to grab the sharp side of the sword. We're trying to give the illusion that that's actually sharp on a ballady scimitar. And I took that away, and I remember that always. And it's about a year later that she passed away. And I remember thinking,
bless her.
I remember thinking, like, I'm quite, it's because of her and her feedback. I went to her BTS classes for a while, and she was just.
I led her troupe once because she couldn't make it to an event, and and then I went to a few of her classes, and a lot of events. Yeah, she was great.
We were doing a class with Bex, like Joe, all the other BTS dancers.
She was a huge inspiration on the scene though back then. She was with Janet and Tatiana, with her and Tati.
I'll forever be grateful for her comments and for her
definitely.
There's definitely a piece of Pauline Q in me. Even though I wasn't officially part of her BTS troupe, there's a little piece of her. Just every week I'd go to her classes as well as yours, because I wanted something a little bit different. I think we had a lucky experience with Nottingham.
We did. We had a great, lovely little scene there. Little tribal scene.
There was more belly dance in Nottingham in 2010 than there is in the whole of Mallorca in 2023. So
it just exploded that time. Like, it was huge. It was nice to be part of that.
Probably helped fuel that falling asleep at night and planning my next costume and next performance and who.
I'd like to get back to the point where I dream about belly dance again. I swear I used to shimmy in my sleep.
It's all different now to me now. Like, Deanna's got the university and stuff.
Since Mega passed, I think I still haven't quite got back into it properly. Because that wasn't that during the lockdown as well?
During the lockdown I did Mega's aromatherapy workshop, and then it was like about a year after that she passed away, or a bit less than 10 months. Because I remember she recommended vetiver oil. We had this thing about vetiver, and I've actually bought some kind of in honor of Mega kind of thing, because there's only a few people that attended the workshop, and she had a good chat with me about it. And so that always reminds me of Mega now, which is nice. She was there at my TT and my GS. Fantastic.
Because I did that a few times, and the last time was in Australia, and she was like, "You get around."
Oh, cool.
Because I'd seen her in England, America, and Australia.
So all the continents nearly. No, she was a real, force in our style.
Things
are still fab, and it's amazing that we still have it. We have to evolve or die. That's that little logo with
definitely.
And I love Carolina's story time. I like the fact that she's still making contact with her community in her own way. She's still there, and we can still hear her beautiful voice and feel her ways and support her and honor her. But she's still there, she still has a presence, which is amazing. I bought a hoodie from her in Mallorca actually a couple of years ago. It's like, I want one of the Fat Chance original gangsters.
I want one of those.
Well, there's new ones now that say gratitude along the top, and they've got a mandala. And
the original gangster.
That's why I got it, because I thought, I'm wondering if this is like end of season sale, if they're all going to be gone and that's it. And I do prefer the old original gangster, so I bought another one that actually is a little bit bigger and fits, from Carolina, and she sent me 2 Fat Chance postcards and signed. And I was like, oh, so sweet.
Is there anything that you want to say about anything at all before we go?
That I am available for classes, one-to-ones. Thursdays I have my sword class. That's 10 a.m. UK time, 11 a.m. Central European time or Spanish time for single sword. And for double sword, it's 4 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. Central European or Spanish time. And they're in blocks, so it's not permanent, those classes, but I release them, a block of 4, people participate, and then I stop them and plan the next group and then release them. So they're normally like 6, 8 weeks, 4 to 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. So I do specialize in sword, but also I do have classes online one-to-one. I can do one-to-one classes online. Some people ask me sometimes. Same for you, I'm sure. You know, you're available for one-to-one ATS classes.
Exactly. And fusion as well. Everyone wants me to do fusion, and I'm like, I want to do ATS.
Yeah. No, yeah. Or maybe you can trick them and do more like ATS or
I do. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I do tell them. I do tell them when I'll go, oh, and by the way, this is a fat chance move. But
I've got a performance online coming up. My next performance that I've done by the sea, video by my husband. It's quite a nice video. I'm hoping I'll send it to you privately to check over, see what you think.
Okay.
But it's being released at the Kindred Sister Goddess Awakening Hafla on the 21st of March, which is available on YouTube for free for everyone to watch.
Nice.
So it will be a part of that.
And your YouTube is?
I'll
link it in the description.
Okay, yeah, I have a YouTube channel, and it's got lots of
I will link it in
lockdown performances and little free classes and excerpts and stuff on there.
So if people want to learn sword and they haven't got a sword yet, what would they do? Like, how do you get a hold of a sword?
First, get a wooden or a plastic or a kid's toy sword, maybe, if you wanted to join a class and see how it's like. What it's like, or if you really just want to dance with sword, get a ballady scimitar. You can buy them from charlia.de in Germany, or you can buy them from Mark and Angela Zuza.
I got mine from there.
Try and get a sword without a handguard, so like a ballady scimitar for our style dance is recommended. And then try a class. You can I have a 6-week beginners class actually that I've not released. It's on YouTube and it's private at the moment, but I'd like to release it as people for a minimum price. People can have access for this 6-week beginners course for as long as they want, like let's say 2-3 months. I'll allow access.
So if anyone was interested in that, then they can contact you. I'll put your contact details below, and then they can if anyone's interested in doing the beginners one, then they can contact you if they want to do any of your other classes
in September in America as well.
Okay.
And we'll both be at that. Come stay with me. Then we'll both be at that. Just hands. Just hands moment.
Cool. All right. It's been lovely talking to you again. As always.
Always a pleasure.
Love you loads.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.